going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Duck Insider.
These are good problems to have, right? So much success that you have more than one place to be.
Mabry, touchdown! Oregon. Off a dribble, launches, and hits the three! Oregon leads!
What a great opportunity it is to be able to play at University of Oregon.
I'm just incredibly proud to be a part of something like this.
She wants another three. Oh, three in a row!
Oregon is headed to the Super Regional. Big Ten champions, your Oregon Ducks.
We are so privileged and so fortunate. We get to see all these young people. We get to see this incredible growth, which is what college is all about.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
It was an eventful doubleheader last night for both Oregon men's and women's basketball. The heart rate was elevated. The games were tight. It was closely contested. Oregon was the victor on the men's side, dropped an overtime thriller on the women's side. And there's a lot more Oregon athletics going on. Oregon softball in action down at the Mary Nutter just got underway in Game 2 of their doubleheader today against Tennessee. That's the second game after Oregon took the first game earlier today with a 5-4 victory over California to start off the Mary Nutter Collegiate Classic. Strong start for Missy Lombardi's crew. Going to be a very talented and treacherous weekend with a whole lot of very capable opponents for Oregon softball. We'll continue to touch on how Oregon softball is faring throughout the course of Duck Insider today. Also checking in with Oregon Lacrosse head coach Jess Drummond ahead of their weekend coming up against Central Michigan. 2 o'clock on Saturday will be when Jess Drummond's team will be in action at Pape Field. Also, Oregon baseball preparing for what is going to be another Friday, Saturday doubleheader, and then Sunday series, this time against Rhode Island at PK Park. Coming up this weekend, we'll hear from Coach Wazikowski, also a few players on the show coming up today. First pitch on Friday is at 3 o'clock p.m. right after Duck Insider. Breaking down the men's basketball game from last night, the men on the road at Iowa, an 80-78 victory, which was so tight, so close. Not just in terms of the game as a whole, but just individual calls here and there. It felt like this game could have gone either way. It was that type of basketball game for Oregon against Iowa and the Hawkeyes in a game that Oregon needed to win and now has Oregon with some momentum. 3-game win streak for the Ducks now to this point in the season. Some very successful stats for Oregon in this one. The Ducks +9 on the rebounds, 36-27 in terms of the rebound margin, 19-5 in terms of the second chance points, also 38-24 in terms of points in the paint. Oregon, in terms of the physical, gritty hustle stats, won a lot of those in this ball game. Both teams shot pretty well, 9 for 22 from deep, 41% from three, and it was a game that once again came down to the wire. Oregon's been in a few of those tight ones. The Ducks won close again. Dana Altman breaking down the results for Oregon men's basketball in the game against Iowa. He talked with Joey Mack on the road.
Well, Coach, a gritty win down the stretch, huh? What'd you tell the guys in the locker room for this one?
Well, sometimes you just got to find a way. Made a lot of mistakes, but we were able to overcome them. At times, our defense was pretty active. They hit some tough shots. Adford, I mean, he's a projected NBA player, and he sure showed a lot of grit and hit some really tough shots. But, for the most part, our defense didn't get enough hands on balls. I thought the rhythm was too good. And offensively there, especially late, our ball movement, we pounded it and didn't attack. Jackson's got to get the ball moving. Key's got to get the ball moving. We got to get that ball inside out. TJ made some nice plays, but he held on to it on top a few times where the ball just needs to be swung against that zone.
Yeah.
And we caught it and held it and put it on the floor way too much there.
How about, though, just down the stretch, Coach? I mean, you have a couple reviews that don't go your way. Just sometimes it takes some tenacity to get it done on the road, doesn't it?
Yeah, you just got to find a way. Close calls and, Jackson steps out of bounds. I don't know what happened there. But, again, we were able to overcome it. I hope we learn from it. We got to be tougher down the stretch. We got to make better plays, better decisions down the stretch. But the guys did find a way.
Let's start defensively for Nate Biddle. The big block at the end, but changed so many shots in there.
Oh, without a doubt. No, without Nate, our interior defense really struggles. He really makes plays, and if you look at our defense when he's in the game versus when he's out, now he's had a couple games where he's really struggled, and we struggled in those games because of it. We're banking a lot on him defensively because he keeps the middle, the paint. We outscored him 38-24 in the paint, and obviously we needed every one. We beat him second chance points 19-5. So those two stats, in a 2-point game, you'd think if you see those two stats that we'd have won by more, but found a way, and that's what it takes.
And he gave you 21 on offense too.
No, he finished some plays, 8 for 13. So I thought he played double-double, 21 and 10. Thought he played 4 assists, just 1 turnover, 3 blocks. Did a great job.
How about KJ too, Coach? He gave you 2 blocks inside. Was a perfect 3 for 3 from the
Really had a good game. KJ's had back-to-back games now where he's really helped us. And I thought he was really good tonight. You look at his plus-minus when he was on the floor, +9, so that he did a really good job.
3 in a row, step forward. Next one's the most important one.
Absolutely. Really tough team. Wisconsin's playing really good, scored 90 points here a bunch of times, really clicking, probably playing as well or better than anybody in the league right now. So we know we're going to have our hands full. We're going to have to do a tremendous job of defending them. We're going to have to do better offensively, handling the ball and moving the ball, getting the shots we want. So big game for us, and it'll be a big challenge. We'll have to play really, really well over there. Not many teams win there, and we're going to have to play awfully well.
Here's just swinging away. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
Oregon's going to have to play well and probably even better than they did yesterday to come out with a sweep of the road trip, as they're going to play against a very tough Wisconsin team on Saturday. It's going to be a difficult game for Oregon against a Wisconsin team that's playing better basketball than maybe anybody else in the country right now. But Oregon's put together some strong performances, and it feels like the Ducks are continuing to expand on what they did on Sunday with Rutgers, where it was a team effort from top to bottom in the box score. Oregon got a team effort from top to bottom again, even without Jackson Shelstad making a field goal in this game. Nate Biddle, 21 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 blocks. Good game for him. Kwame Evans, perfect from the field, 8 points, 3 rebounds, 2 blocks, a steal, +9 in the plus-minus. Positive result for KJ Evans. He's stacked a few games back-to-back. You just heard Coach Altman talk about. Balanced scoring effort across the board for Oregon. TJ Bamba, 10 points, 6 assists. Keyshawn Barthélemy, 10 points. Brandon Angel, 10 points. Jadrian Tracy, 8 points. Raheem Moss in limited minutes, 6 points. Oregon has a lot of options offensively, and they're spreading the ball around a lot more than they were earlier in the season. Feels like everyone's starting to step up at the right time, which you need to have happen through the stretch run of February and early March in collegiate basketball. Feels like Oregon is starting to find their stride at the right time. And Nate Biddle, certainly one of those people. A very strong game for Nate again, as I mentioned. 21 points, 10 rebounds, a double-double, 4 assists, 3 blocks, including a block on the final shot for Iowa, which stifled the Hawkeyes' final possession. Strong result for Nate Biddle. He's starting to get back under the swing of things after he said he tweaked his ankle just a touch ahead of the UCLA game. Looks to me like he's starting to feel more and more healthy, getting more and more in rhythm, being more and more like the Nate Biddle that we saw early through non-conference, early through conference play. He's finding his stride once again. He sat down, talked with Joey Mack postgame after the 80-78 win over Iowa.
Nate Biddle. All right, Nate. We were just talking about a lot of different things with Coach, but let's maybe start defensively. So you had 3 blocks. Yeah. You're the conference's leader in blocks. Was there any block bigger than the one down at that end that that sealed the game? What was going through your mind on that final possession?
Nah, I seen him come off the ball screen kind of open, so I told Bam to switch, and I seen him go for the setback. Kind of had thoughts about the UCLA game again,
Yeah.
but I got my hand up high enough to get a piece of it, and it was a big time play. But my teammates and everything, we fought hard that whole game. They're a good home team. They only had like 4 home losses before us, but we came in here and got it done.
I was talking about this with Coach Altman. You get a couple calls, don't go your way. A couple reviews that you're waiting, you're planning, you're thinking. So much goes through your mind. Like, as a player, how'd you handle that down the stretch? Because you guys showed some tenacity, I thought, down the stretch.
Yeah, it's really difficult sometimes. When we're in the huddle, we're drawing up offensive plays, and they're like, it's going this way. Now we got to go get on defense to get a stop. But we've had a lot of scenarios like this early on in our season, and even down the stretch of our season. So it wasn't really nothing new, and we knew we had to get a stop, which we did, and my teammates and everything like that fought hard getting through screens all night. 20 and 4 for them. They both had they hit some tough shots, tough pull-ups, tough setbacks over hot hands. But we just got to keep fighting over those screens, and they did a good job of that all night.
Well, I know Coach would say that you want to take another step defensively. You did out-rebound them by 9. You had 10 of them here tonight. The rebounding, I know you take pride in that.
Yeah. Coach has got on me a couple times. I had like a game with 2 rebounds and a game with like 4 rebounds. So Coach definitely got on me. So that's kind of been in my head to go rebound, and my dad be yelling at me a little bit to go grab some rebounds. So got to listen to them guys and go grab that ball.
So TJ, Keyshawn, and Brandon each give you 10, and it's a night where Jackson only scores 3 points. I wanted to ask you this, Nate. Like, you guys scored 80 points, and Jackson scores 3. It just the balance that you guys can have. Do you feel like the offense can start to click here down the stretch?
Yeah, definitely. And, I think we've done a better job over the last couple games sharing the ball with each other. We're kind of making the one more pass. We're having 11, 12 assists going into halftime. That's something that we just got to keep carrying over into the second half. But it could be anybody's night, any night. Jackson, he's been doing really well tonight. He struggled, and we had other guys step up. TJ's played well the last 2 games. Brandon's been solid all season. So it's just different guys all around that can step up on any night.
Nate, you're the man. Congrats, buddy.
Appreciate it.
You hear Nate talking about different players stepping up. Oregon needed it. Jackson Shelstad did not have the game that he normally does. 0 for 7 from the field, 0 for 5 from 3. That's what it says on the box score. There was a shot with about a minute left that there was a replay. To me, it looked like he got it off. That's neither here nor there. Oregon won the game anyways. 80-78, final score. Oregon victory over Iowa. Both the interviews, Dana Altman, Nate Biddle, brought to you by Willamette Valley Cancer Institute Research Center. Better cancer care close to home. It was a tightly contested basketball doubleheader. There was about a half-hour stretch where the women were in the final bits of the fourth quarter and overtime, and the men were just starting the second half. Oh, my goodness. My attention was split. The volume was going up and down on the various broadcasts with Chris Clayton and Joey Mack, and it was a heart-palpitating probably half hour between Oregon men's and women's basketball. Ducks, the victors on the men's side. Oregon women battled really hard. Had some great looks down the stretch against Nebraska. Just couldn't come out with a road sweep. Breaking that down after this timeout when we come back on Duck Inside on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
This is Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
August was born 3 pounds, 9.8 ounces. When I first saw him, it was a whole range of emotions. There's stuff I still want to do. Being a young dad, it's not giving up. It's shifting. I look through his eyes. I can envision the whole future with him already. To throw the first football to him, give him ice cream for the first time. My life is now devoted to his life.
Through all of fatherhood's firsts, never stop being a dad. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Back here inside the Country Financial Studio, it's Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Ryan Milano here with you on a Thursday as Oregon women's basketball played in one heck of a competitive ballgame. It was a real overtime thriller against Nebraska yesterday, a 94-90 loss for Oregon, but I thought the Ducks played really well. The defensive intensity was there. Nebraska was just making shots, 15 for 29 from three-point range, 52%, and it felt like Oregon, they made shots too, 12 for 27 from three, 44%, but it was the big shots down the stretch. Oregon had one or two opportunities, especially the three-pointer from the corner when time was expiring in regulation. That shot goes down, well, Oregon wins the game right there. When Nebraska had to have it, they got the three-pointer. At the end of regulation with about 13 seconds left, they hit the three-pointer to tie the game back up and send the game to overtime. And Oregon, they had great looks. They had great opportunities. They battled. Even when they got down in the overtime period, they battled back and had opportunities. It just felt like one shot when you needed it, it just rattled out for Oregon. And especially down the stretch, what really hurt the Ducks is some foul trouble. Philly Che, Amina Muhammad, they fouled out. Markowski, the big for Nebraska, had a stellar game, 35 and 15 points, rebounds for Markowski. Oregon, they threw everything at her. She just had one heck of a game, could stretch the floor, made some shots on the perimeter, made some shots inside. It was a tough matchup, but Oregon as a team played really well. Deja Kelly, 22 points, 6 assists, 3 steals. Nani Falate had one of her better games. 20 points, 6 of 11 from 3, had 5 rebounds as well. Philly was 7 of 8 from the field. She had 16 points, made some clutch free throws down the stretch to keep Oregon in it. 9 rebounds in the game for Philly. Peyton Scott had 13 points, was 3 of 7 from 3. Eliza Meavy has played 40-plus minutes. 11 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. It was an Oregon team that played well, played cohesive, played gritty, all the things that we've become so accustomed to seeing for Oregon women's basketball. And sweeping road trips in this conference is so incredibly hard, and Oregon came this close to getting a road sweep against two really, really talented teams in the Big Ten after the 76-70 win over Minnesota on Sunday. It was this close to being a road sweep and a really, really happy flight home for Oregon women's basketball. Instead, it was a loss by the narrowest of margins, 94-90 in overtime on the road against a top 40 net team in Nebraska. The Ducks just couldn't get it done. But I think still a really resilient effort from Oregon women's basketball. And Kelly Graves sat down with Chris Clayton after the game, breaking down what was a tough, gritty, tight, competitive, thrilling overtime game between Oregon and Nebraska.
Went to overtime. It's just one of those games where you just come within a few centimeters of a win. What do you think was the difference?
Well, yeah, first of all, it was a hell of a basketball game.
Yes.
Both teams played really well. That's as good as basketball can get. We're obviously really disappointed. I thought we had the chances tonight. Just disappointed that, and credit Nebraska. They made every three.
Yeah.
they made every shot when they had to. And, but I'm still proud our kids fought. I think we gave ourselves a chance even late. I thought we managed the last minute and a half, even down by a few, and gave ourselves a chance. I thought in regulation we got exactly what we wanted in the final shot of the game. We wanted to have the last possession, and we got what we wanted. It just didn't go. But, it's funny. I talk to the team every day. You're around the team. You understand. Every possession matters. Every possession. You just never know. And it just sometimes we say the same things to the same people, all the time. And at some point we've just got to learn. We've got to figure that out and get it done. This is how every game's going to be now for the rest of the season. We're 2 games away from being in nothing but tournament games. And so every game's going to come down to this. We've been really great in close games. This is the first one we didn't pull out. But, proud of the fight, proud of the effort. But, we gave them 18 offensive rebounds. They out-rebounded us by 17. That's a huge key. But we've seemed to have found our offense the last, few ball games. Then our defense leaves, We got to be able to, I told the team if we can play defense like we've been playing for most of the season and now get this offense rolling, we're going to be a really hard team to beat. But, yeah, in the end, that's a tough one because we would have been ahead of them and we would have been in a really good position to get one of the higher seeds in that Big Ten tournament. And now we've got to play chase and catch up.
Well, you hit 12 threes in this game after shooting 40% from 3 on Sunday. It seems like the outside shooting has turned a corner. That's something that can carry over and continue?
Sure hope so. Yeah, I think we're getting pretty good shots. We're confident. I thought we had a great look on that last one, man. I thought it was going. It just the way our luck has been, that those shots have gone. But I know our kids feel bad. I know they're really disappointed in there. That's why it took me a little bit of time to get in here. Games like this are tough when you lose because you always just think there's every single player that played tonight can go, gosh, if I would have just done this or just done that. Mm-hmm. And coaching, we made some bad moves too. We wanted to be aggressive up 3, and we just kind of took a gamble on the trap, and we didn't get the rotation we wanted. I think we were in a position to get a steal out of that, and we were just slow to rotate, and doggone it, that kid hits that shot in the corner. That was a killer, and then but then we ended up having a great look after that. So these are the games as a coach you kind of beat yourself up over too. We could have done a lot better ourselves, but we got to get back up on the horse,
Yep.
and play Rutgers. We got two games left, and then it's tournament time.
That's right.
It's crazy.
It's right around the corner. So what's the message now to bounce back and get ready for Rutgers?
Oh, our kids are resilient. They're smart. We'll take tomorrow off. It's going to be a late night. Apparently our plane's not here. Shocker. And then, we'll take tomorrow off. They have much needed rest. They're still student athletes. They got to go to school and do those kind of things. So we'll have a couple of days to prepare for, for Rutgers. They're a formidable team. I know the record doesn't look, but they played a lot of teams really tough. Mm-hmm. And if the one elite scorer plays, they're a different team. They're a big-time team. So we've got we've got our work cut out for us, but it'll be senior night. We have 5 or 6 seniors that we're going to be honoring that night. So, we need our Duck fans to come out. Against Washington the other night, we had 4,700 people. I don't know, it's a pretty good team. They're fun to watch. We need people to come out and support this group because I think they deserve it, and I think our fans really do help. I think they really do help.
Thanks for your time, Coach.
All right, thanks, bud.
Kelly Graves breaking down the game for Oregon women's basketball in a tight 94-90 loss in overtime against Nebraska yesterday. You heard Coach Graves talk about it. Senior Day coming up for Oregon women's basketball this weekend on Sunday at 2 o'clock at Matthew Nutter Arena. This group deserves your support. If you're not out at MKA, you're either out at PK Park. We'll take it if you're out at PK Park, but make sure that you're at an Oregon event this weekend. There's going to be a ton of them around Eugene. And Oregon women's basketball against Rutgers, regular season finale, 2 o'clock at Mary Nutter Arena. Get to celebrate a really stellar group of seniors that has no doubt put their heart and soul into this season, because this has been a group that has really fought. It fought for just about everything. Fought for wins, fought through losses, fought to be competitive. Gritty, toughness, tenacity. Those have been the adjectives to describe this group for Oregon women's basketball. And I think Kelly Graves hit it on the head. They deserve your support. This weekend on Sunday, regular season finale, 2 o'clock, Mary Nutter Arena against Rutgers, closing out, 2 more games left in the regular season, but closing out the home regular season for Oregon women's basketball. Just starting at home this weekend, one of the events you can get to, Oregon Lacrosse at Pape Field at 2 o'clock against Central Michigan on Saturday. Part of 3 events that will be going on in just this side of the river, with the doubleheader at PK Park on Saturday and Oregon Lacrosse going on Saturday at the same time. Just spend a whole bunch of time around these Autzen complexes. It'll be a great time. Jessica Drummond, we talked to her yesterday. She's previewing this matchup for Oregon Lacrosse when we come back after this on Duck Inside on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial.
Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Substance use disorder and addiction is so isolating. And so, as a Black woman in recovery, hope must be loud. It grows louder when you ask for help and you're vulnerable. It is the thread that lets you know that no matter what happens, you will be okay.
When we learn the power of hope, recovery is possible. Find out how at startwithhope.com. Brought to you by the National Council for Mental Wellbeing, Shatterproof, and the Ad Council.
I'm coming home to the place that I remember. Back to the land of my first love. Would you spread wide your arms for this wayward son? I left my heart in Oregon.
Duck Insider brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union here in the Country Financial Studio. Ryan Milano with you. Been with you all week because Joey's on the road with men's basketball after they got the win yesterday against Iowa, 80-78. And what that also means is that yesterday I got to sit down for the first time this season with Jessica Drummond, who still hasn't lost this season. A still undefeated head coach, Jessica Drummond, here with us. Jess, the second best start in program history. The team is 3-0. You've had both of those, by the way, because the team was undefeated 4-0 to start the season last year. Just congratulations, continuing to churn out wins. Great job.
Thank you. It's been very, very exciting.
It's always exciting when you get to start the season off at Pape Field, and you're doing it once again, defending Pape. We've talked about it so much on this program. It's so very important. You did it again, a 15-7 victory over Columbia over the weekend, just continuing to stack wins on your home turf.
Yeah, so fun. We talk about that. It's kind of been our little mantra for the past couple of years of just taking pride in our field and, welcoming anyone to come out to Oregon, but still having that pride and stepping onto Oregon's turf.
On the game, on the weekend against Columbia, just overall general thoughts. It was a close game to start, really ballooned in the second quarter, was tight for the remaining 3 quarters, but the entire game as a whole, just your general thoughts over the weekend.
Totally. It was, I think, a great test for us. Columbia came out super hard. They were a very gritty, super physical team, and we needed to see a team like that. That was really exciting to see somebody come out and match us with that physicality and, getting those checks, just kind of being up in our grill, which is really great to be exposed to and, having to combat something like that. So loved the fight from our team, loved the fight from Columbia to face a team like that and to push us to have to kind of rise above that.
I was a little bit disappointed, and I say this tongue-in-cheek, but you scored in the first 12 seconds in the first game, first 10 seconds in the second game. It took you 48 seconds to score in this one.
Yeah, I know.
What were you waiting for?
I know. What are they waiting for? I'll have to ask them. We'll see. Maybe we'll do a little redemption on Saturday.
But seriously, strong starts, getting on the board early, that's got to be important to get the lead early in a game.
Yeah, we definitely talk about that. That's kind of been our message going into every game, like starting strong, finishing strong. And so, we always talk about getting that first goal, get that first draw, get that first up on defense. And so, our team definitely takes pride in being that team that does that first.
But it didn't balloon out early in the first quarter like it had in the first few games of the season. It was tight after the first quarter. It was 5-3.
Yeah.
Then your team answers with a 7-0 second quarter, and all of a sudden it's a running clock early in the second half. The response from the team when it gets tight, the quarter break, what was it like when you take a few minutes, talk to the team, and then get back out there, and all of a sudden it's goal, 7-0 second quarter, and all of a sudden the game's basically over?
Yeah, it's a little reality check. Like, hey, we knew this team was going to come out. We knew they were going to be physical. We knew that they were going to be gritty, and this was their first game. They're going to have that same hype that we had our first game, and so just kind of refreshing, like focus on ourselves, get back to our game plan, stick to the game plan, and just be a little bit more connected on that field. And then they did that second quarter super easily. So that was great to see.
It was a little bit of a surprise where it's like, didn't jump out to as big of a lead early because you had in the first 2 games. Was it a little bit of a surprise? And then the pride of the team to have the second quarter basically be what the first quarter was in the first few?
Yes and no. Like, again, like a test to Columbia being a great team coming out, like knowing that we've had 2 strong starts. I would assume it's in their game plan. Don't let us get hot. Like, make sure we don't get that quick start in the first quarter. And again, like they did a good job, like coming out battling us with that same kind of grit and that hard work. And so for us to be able to respond in that second quarter, again, like I want our team to keep being pushed and being challenged and being battling, kind of overcoming that. So to be able to do that in that second quarter was kind of a test we need to face.
It seems like a continuation from last year into this season is the draws and continuing to dominate on the draws. How important is that? And it feels like this season there's so many more people getting involved on those draws and those draw controls. How important is that for your team as a whole in terms of team identity, how you want to play? Just controlling the draws got to be incredibly important.
Totally. Super important. You win the draw, you get to be on offense. And so that's kind of a key to the game. And our draw team takes so much pride. Theo's done an incredible job. Jenkins has kind of stepped up in that role to take the draw for us and for her to be able to put it in those places for anyone on the circle being able to scoop that up. Rachel's crushing it again, like consistently tying her record, and maybe one day she'll break it this season. But it's been awesome to see a couple other fresh faces step up and also win the draw for us too.
It's great to see at the top of the record book, it's just Rachel Powell, individual game record, just all tied up at the top.
Right.
But seriously, starting out on offense in a sport like women's lacrosse, it's incredibly important because defense in this sport is so difficult to play at times. It is so important to start every possession on offense. Just how much of an advantage does that give your team to start out each possession with the ball and the stick?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the score, I think it was like 16-1 draw controls for us versus them, and that's kind of reflective in the score. We had 5 goals in the first quarter, 7 in the second, and that comes down to winning that draw and be able to finish our possession on offense to then get that bump that score up higher.
Starting on offense, being on offense more often than not, that means that Anna Simmons probably is going to find the back of the net. Yeah. Big Ten Midfielder of the Week once again, just her job throughout this week.
Yeah.
The Stetson game counted for this one. It didn't count to the last Midfielder of the Week. Doesn't matter. She still gets the award once again. It seems like she's just going to start churning those out.
Yeah, love it. I mean, her hustle from both ends of the field. You see her in the ride. You see her getting those cross turnovers. That really does define a true midi of being able to get things done on both sides. It's not just finishing on offense. It's also getting those stops on defense, too, and she does a great job at that.
And to put it nationally into perspective, when the game went final, Anna Simmons was the leading goal scorer in the country. Woo. Currently, as we're speaking right now on Wednesday morning, she's sitting in second place behind someone who's played 4 games.
Okay.
She's fourth in goals per game. The 3 ahead of her have only played 1 game. So just the consistency of the body of work, now having a few games under the belt, it's not just a one-off fluke, she had a successful game. She's now stacked 3 successful games back to back to back. Mm-hmm. What does that do for her confidence moving forward, just to be able to have such a successful start to the season?
Totally. Like being a junior, being in that role, being able to show up on game day. I talked about this last time, but she shows up to practice every day with that same mentality. It doesn't matter who's in front of her, who the opponent is. She's focusing on what I need to do for this team and how can I make us better. And so that to me is such a great leader. And to be able to have her on our team for underclassmen, upperclassmen, everybody to look to of how hard she goes in practice clearly reflects on game day of being able to get things done.
And with that comes so much offensive gravity. Mm-hmm. When you have somebody who's scoring at a clip that's better than everybody else in the country, it means that, defenses are going to collapse to her and everybody else is going to be open. That opens so many opportunities for everybody else out there.
Totally, yeah, exactly. And, that's something that we continue to think about as teams watch us more and can scout us more of how to make our team consistently more versatile on the field. And so it's great having, we had 7 people score points on Saturday, and that's amazing. That's a lot of people on offense getting those reps and getting those goals in. So our goal is to always be a team that's not easily scoutable.
I'm glad you mentioned that because it's not just Anna Simmons that's scoring the goals. 7 goal scorers on Saturday against Columbia, which means that she's got options to pass it to, and the entire team as a whole can find ways to get it into the back of the net. And really what that means is it's just an incredibly efficient and high-scoring offense.
Yeah, that's the hope. Yeah.
that's what you want to have, and to have so many different options offensively. It really does speak to this offense moving forward in terms of how you can pass it around the crease and get opportunities offensively. It really isn't. We can talk about Anna Simmons a lot because deservedly so, but it's not just a one-woman band. There's so many different players that have the ability to get involved for your offense.
Totally agree. Yeah, it's definitely a well-balanced offense, and again, kudos to Theo for being able to make everybody who steps on that field just as much as a threat.
Defensively as well, there's also options for you back in goal. We've seen 3 different goalkeepers so far this year: Paige Crowther, Kate Shields, Cassidy Eckert. Just the competition level of the goalie group, it makes it better, and it means that each person has to raise their individual play when you have a trio of goalies that you can all stick back there in net.
Yeah, they're amazing. I cannot relate being a goalie, but just fighting for one position and having all 3 of them consistently hype each other up, be such a good goalie unit, and just compete so hard. It makes it hard for us as coaches, and that's what I love about my job, of having a hard decision, who's going to play and who's going to step up. And so it's been really exciting to see all 3 of them continue to support each other and be each other's biggest cheerleaders when they're not in.
So coming up this weekend on Saturday, 2 p.m. at Pape Field, Central Michigan coming into town. Just general scouting report on Central Michigan. What are they going to bring to the table?
Yeah, kind of excited. They play Michigan tonight, so we'll use that film to kind of scout and, against a Big Ten opponent to see how they show up. So we'll use that film, and, we're very excited to see them, again, have another game on our home turf.
Key success, what do you want to improve on from the first 3 games? What's it going to take at Pape Field to come away with a win?
Yeah, I want us to keep having that same grit, obviously continue to win and strive on the draw controls, start strong. That's been our mentality every single game of coming out hot, making that lead so big that it's hard to catch back up, and, again, out hustle every team we see.
Jessica Drummond, what do we miss?
Nothing. Great.
Nothing. Jess, thank you.
Amazing. Thanks.
Jess Drummond sitting down with us, 2 o'clock on Saturday at Pape Field, Oregon Lacrosse going up against Central Michigan. Game 4 of the season. Jess Drummond trying to match her program record from last year's start at 4-0 on Saturday against Central Michigan. Oregon baseball sitting at 3-1 on the season, preparing for another 4-game homestand this weekend. Coach Wazakowski going to break it down after we come back on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you because Toyota's got 25 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. And that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places. Based on manufacturer's websites as of 10/20/24.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you because Toyota's got 25 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. And that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places. Based on manufacturer's websites as of 10/20/24.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Put your phone on D&D. That means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D. That means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, Honey Bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
You know you make me wanna kick my heels up and throw my hands up and throw my head back and come on now. Don't forget to say you will. Don't forget to say yeah.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio on Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Ryan Milano here with you ahead of an Oregon baseball series starting tomorrow, 3 o'clock first pitch against Rhode Island at PK Park on Saturday. Then an 11 o'clock start on Friday, 3 o'clock first pitch against Rhode Island. On Saturday, 11 o'clock start ahead of a doubleheader against the Rams. And then on Sunday at noon against Rhode Island once again. It was a weekend for Oregon last weekend against Toledo, which was relatively successful. 3-1 weekend. Oregon set a program record for home runs in Game 3 of the series. Saw a few new pitchers, saw a few freshmen touch the mound for Oregon baseball. But if you ask the coaching staff, wanted to get the sweep. That Game 2, the loss 5-3 in the second game of the season. What's on the mind of a lot of the coaches? Improvement. Getting it better from week to week regardless of opponent. That's what Oregon baseball is after, raising the standard. Ducks have made it to Super Regionals back-to-back years. Trying to get to Omaha. Got to raise the standard each and every week. Waz breaking down his thoughts from the previous week. Looking forward to next week against Rhode Island. Talked to the media yesterday.
Just growth you want to see week 1 to week 2. What are going to be the biggest points of emphasis?
There's a lot of things offensively I think we need to grow on. I won't get into the details of that, but I think overall offensively, as a whole, I don't think collectively we said that was our best effort. We saw spurts of it. We saw things that we really liked offensively, but for the whole body of work, not good enough. And so that's one of them.
When you do have a team with a lot of power, which you do, can that sometimes mask some things? And maybe can you get too comfortable sometimes thinking, hey, we'll just hit one of these at-bats?
I don't think you think that way. I just think, again, you're trying to teach a complete offense, a complete brand of play. And I just don't think we were complete last weekend.
Yeah, not that you were teaching it that way, but just that the risk you can kind of slip into that
I don't think that's the mindset. I just think that there's a certain approach that you need to be more consistent that we probably didn't have last weekend for 4 games straight. We did in parts, but not for 4 games straight.
Some specifics of that. Is it plate approach offensively you want to see an improvement in? What areas of the offense do you want to see growth in?
I'm not going to get into details of that. I'll keep it general.
What do you make of your pitching staff then this last weekend?
I thought we had a bad week, or we had a bad inning on the weekend, and other than that, by and large, I thought the guys pitched really well and competed really well.
What went into keeping the rotation the same for this upcoming week?
Because they all did good.
All right. What do you think of Rhode Island?
They're old. They just scored 36 runs in a 7-inning game the last time they took the field, which I've never seen in my life. They've got old guys that can hit the ball over the fence, and they showed that in their last game specifically. It's the same team basically that went to Texas A&M last year and had them beat in one of their 3-game series games against Texas A&M in the last inning, and then came up a little bit short in that game. But they're a group that's a very physical offensive group.
I was going to ask, when was the last time you saw a game that was 58 combined runs within their Sunday game, 36-22?
Never
Once. You mentioned, I think on Saturday after the doubleheader, that you were looking forward to practice this week. So far, kind of how's that going, and what's the demeanor of the team like with going through practice?
Business-like. They're hungry to improve, and they've had an element of just work to them this week, which has been great. It's gone well.
What were kind of some of the learning lessons that you got from Toledo, where you're going to try to put them forward into this week and then the upcoming weeks after that?
Well, some of the offensive things that I hit upon, there's some things from the pitching side of it that we're probably going to be working on this week and next week to be able to get, some more defensive things with our pitching cinched up this last week. We had a couple opportunities with team defense that I think we fell short on, and so we've been working on team defense and some specifics there this week to tighten up and make sure that we execute when we get called upon.
You guys threw a lot of freshman arms this weekend, out of the bullpen specifically, and obviously as a starter with Will. Just what do you want to see from those freshmen these upcoming weeks to where you are comfortable using them in May?
Well, we need to get these guys more and more experience, and even the older guys, they're new to our program, a lot of them, and so just getting those guys out there for experience is really good. Unfortunately, we didn't get a couple of young guys in last weekend that we really wanted to get in last weekend, and so I hope we can get more people in to where we can see everybody that's basically auditioning for road trips or conference rosters or stuff like that. The best way to do that is for a whole body of work. So through their practice reps, through their scrimmage reps, and through these game reps. And, we've got the practice and the scrimmage reps. We've seen that. Now I want to see what they do in games too. That's part of it.
With it being so early in the season and all the new pieces, how do you sort of balance that level of expectation where it's, this is something to be concerned with going forward more than it is, it's early in the season?
I don't know. I see one weekend as just an independent, subset of games. And, so we take what we took out of that weekend and we look to improve upon it. I don't really ever get any cause for alarm or anything like that. I just look at it and try to just very simply think about what we need to improve and what we need to continue to maintain well, that we've done well.
What do you want to see from those bullpen arms to potentially label that person as a closer for you guys?
As a closer, I think Cole Stokes did okay last weekend. I like what I saw out of Cole. I don't see why he wouldn't be anything other than just that. He could probably be a starter too, but I thought he did a very, very good job at the end of the game when he had an opportunity. He looked dominant. Closers usually have great mentality. They usually throw multiple pitches for strikes that are really, really good. And so that would be the breakdown of what I would expect on a closer.
Do you have any updates on Chase or Jeff and how they're doing?
Both of them are day-to-day.
Was breaking down last weekend for Oregon baseball, previewing to this weekend for the Ducks, and just how the team is continuing to take shape throughout the last couple of weeks for Oregon, looking forward throughout the course of the season. That interview by Mark Wasikowski brought to you by Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Better cancer care close to home. Oregon softball is in action right now. Oregon men's golf closed out one of their rounds and their tournaments yesterday, breaking down a whole bunch around the University of Oregon after this timeout. Coming back on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial. Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Ma, is this how you feed a hamster?
I think so.
Is my homework right?
I think so.
Is, this milk still good?
I think so.
When it comes to parenting, sometimes it's okay to think you know. But when it's something as important as your child's car seat, don't just think. Know. Double check if your child is in the right seat for their age and size. It'll help protect them in a car crash. Don't just think. Know by visiting nhtsa.gov/the right seat. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Back in the Country Financial Studio, it's Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Ryan Milano here with you, closing out the show in the Country Financial Studio, and there is a lot going on around the University of Oregon. Tomorrow, Oregon Beach Volleyball starting up their season, their 2025 campaign. It's going to be a triple header over the weekend for Oregon Beach Volleyball. Doubleheader tomorrow against Portland. The season starts at 12 p.m. So Chris Clayton, who will be here with you on the show tomorrow, have some hopefully updates from Oregon versus Portland. Then Sacramento State is the Ducks' next opponent in the 2 o'clock hour. The Ducks will play on the beach against them, all at the event hosted by Corbin up in Salem, Oregon. The Ducks will play the host school, Corbin, at 12 o'clock on Saturday. So Portland at 12 tomorrow, Sacramento State right afterwards, and then at noon on Saturday will be Oregon versus Corbin to start off the Ducks' beach volleyball season. As we speak right now, Oregon softball in action at the Mary Nutter, the second of their 2 games of the day. It's a 5-game weekend for Oregon softball as the Ducks play against California, got a win against California, a 5-4 victory against Cal, currently in action against Tennessee. Then it's going to be a doubleheader coming up tomorrow. 10:30, Utah will be the opponent at 10:30 in the morning in Cathedral City. Then San Diego State at 1 o'clock. Chris Clayton will have updates for you on both of those. And then on Saturday, early 9:30 a.m., the Ducks close against Missouri. Top-ranked teams after top-ranked teams, all of them regional opponents from the 2025 year. How Oregon got it done in game number 1 against Cal, a 5-4 victory with a lot of offense in the first inning. Cal got the scoring started first, scratch across 2 runs in the top of the first. Then Oregon immediately answered. 3 runs in the bottom of the first inning. We talked with Coach Lombardi on the show earlier this week about the freshmen. Well, the level of competition has raised. The freshmen have raised their level of competition as well, because in that game, Oregon, after falling down 2-0, it was the freshman in Emma Cox who came in, got an RBI double to start the scoring for Oregon, and then immediately after, very next batter, Cox was driven in by Riley McCoy, who hit a home run. So the freshman, Emma Cox, with the RBI double, then Riley McCoy with the home run, puts Oregon in front, 3-2 ball game. In the third, Cal scores, top of the third inning. Oregon immediately answers afterwards as the Ducks in the bottom of the third, get a Paige Shinicki 2 RBI triple to take the lead 5-3. Cal gets a run in the fourth, but then it was a strong close from the Oregon pitching staff to close things out. Elise Sokolsky didn't have the greatest start, 2 2/3, allowed 3 runs on 5 hits, passed the ball to Taylor Spencer, one inning pitched, 4 hits, 1 run. Then came Lindsey Grine, who came in, got her 6th win of the season, 3 1/3 inning, allowed just 1 hit, no runs, struck out 3, faced just 11 batters out of the 10 batter minimum through 3 1/3. Only allowed 1 base runner. Strong relief appearance from Lindsey Grine to get Oregon in the win column to start the Mary Nutter. Right now, Oregon going up against a top 10 team in the country in Tennessee, and the Ducks are going blow for blow and toe-to-toe in what is a very tight pitching matchup right now. For the Ducks, Elise Sokolsky on the hill, 4 innings pitched, just 1 hit allowed, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts, has faced 15 batters through 4 innings, has not allowed a run. Problem for the Ducks, on the other side, very strong pitcher in Carlin Pickens for Tennessee, who has not allowed a hit yet in this ballgame. 3 1/3 innings, has allowed just 1 base runner with the walk, has struck out 6. What is turning out to be a very defensive battle between Oregon and Tennessee in the next second game of the Mary Nutter Collegiate Classic, the second of 5 games for Oregon coming up this weekend at the Mary Nutter Collegiate Classic. One of the best tournaments to be a part of, one of the best venues in collegiate softball. It's always a great part of the collegiate softball journey. I loved my trips down to the Mary Nutter. Our friends at the student station at KWVA have made the trip. They're on the call for the student station for Oregon softball as we speak. Also, Oregon Golf, they wrapped up their action at the Prestige yesterday. The Ducks went 2 under in round 3, finished 2 over for the tournament, finished in 9th place, rose 4 spots in the final round for the Ducks. It was a 2 under round 1, 6 over round 2, and a 2 under round 3. Looking to play a consistent 54 holes for Oregon, but 2 really consistent rounds for the Ducks, headlined by a hole-in-one by Aiden Kraft yesterday on the par 3, hole 4, 140-yard pin for Aiden Kraft, where he finished 19th overall for the tournament. On the women's golf front, Suvachayev Chaitham, Big Ten Golfer of the Week after a very stellar performance for her as she won the tournament for Oregon women's golf early in the week. The Ducks finished 1-2-4 in that tournament and a top team finish by a whole bunch of strokes and a whole bunch of records. Congratulations to Hutt for getting Big Ten Golfer of the Week. Tomorrow on the show, Chris Clayton's got you. Bye, everybody. Go Ducks.
Hey, so what's a great way to spread awareness that driving high is illegal everywhere? A catchy song, of course.
You can